My name is Gilbert Saldivar, and I'm one of the dancers on the Back to Basics tour.
Hi, I'm Tiana Brown.
My name is Paul Kirk.
Christina.
I think this is a dancer's dream to be on a tour like this because you can showcase all the different styles.
It's a little bit of
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
From technical, bossy.
Yeah.
There's hip hop, there's jazz, there's tap.
Ballet.
Yeah.
Everybody definitely was on their gig and willing to try new things.
We had like a month and a half for rehearsals, where we rehearsed, 10 hours a day. We all learned our stunts for 2 hours in the morning time. And
I learned how to walk on stilts. That was one of my biggest challenges for this tour, is walking on stilts. And my dance training helped me though. I picked it up probably in like two and a half weeks. So.
Didn't come without a couple falls though.
My specialty was fire, so I was basically learning how to twirl fire, how to like basically glide along my arms and my body.
And Kiki, she didn't have to shave. She just had to just whip out that fire and just, you know, work on her little legs.
The girls did some of the swings.
It was hard the first week. I know I came home crying.
Yeah, it was like 3 times a week. It was pretty brutal. Like, we got muscles that we never knew
thought
we had.
To watch them come from not actually being scared of it at first, and then they're pretty much professionals up there. They look really good on the swings, and we would go about our 8-hour rehearsal days, and we did that for about a month and a half. Yeah, it was kind of a fast process. Yeah.
it was very quick. We had a week of production too, which was very unheard of for a show like this.
Right.
So that also
But we
was
pulled it
crazy.
off. We pulled it off. Yeah.
Christina Aguilera is so on
point.
Every single
Every
show,
single show.
every song, every dance move,
Yeah.
every inch of her makeup is perfect, and she looks at us on stage, and we have nothing but, you know,
We had
admiration
to
to
be
be
there,
like excited to be on point with her, you know, and
It
the
lifts
audience
us
is
up.
always, it totally
Right.
lifts us up. She encourages us. The first second she hits that note,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's on.
She's a hard worker. It puts pressure on us. When she, doing her thing the way she does, puts pressure on us. We have to pull up.
She always makes her marks, but sometimes she's feeling that note a little bit. So you gotta kind of, you just vibe off of her, and when she's feeling it, you gotta feel it with her.
Yep.
Well, we're all family too, and we all have to look out for each other.
And we high five each other when we pass each other, like everything. It's a really good energy, because you gotta continuously read people. Sometimes, I think the other day, Monique had a mishap with her circus skirt, and she has really crazy shoes, and her foot got caught, and she was literally hopping around about to fall. And so you gotta save it, because sometimes they have no hands to do it. You know what I mean? So you just gotta be always ready for Christina, ready for the other dancers that you're sharing the stage with. It gets interesting though. It gets interesting.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
is.
fun part.
It is the fun part about it.
I'm just really thankful and grateful to be a part of Christina's vision, because she is an icon.
I think it's a blessing to be able to share the stage with somebody as talented as Christina. We've talked about her vision, her talent, her voice, and just everybody that's involved in the making of this amazing show. Like it's really a blessing.
It's really
And,
special.
yeah.
Christina takes us on a journey throughout the show, and Jamie King kind of set it up in the tour book, and he collaborated with Christina on all these ideas of, what each transition was going to entail and what the vibe of each setup was going to be. I had to then go to Cavalli and, give him some proposals, and he came back to us with all these sketches for the dancers, for her. I think the book had something like 200 different sketches. We broke it down into basically 5, which is the Marlene Dietrich Blonde Venus inspired white setup. Then we have the flapper 1920s. Then more of the down south jazz club, which we call juke joint in this show. And then we go into circus, which is where we were able to have the most fun, and there's a lot of transitions in this. So the main outfit is this bodysuit, and it starts out with this and her gold sequin tuxedo coat with tails. She's kind of the ringleader of the circus with her little mini top hat. So this is how it starts, and then, you know, we change throughout the show with different corsets, and then we go, she's still wearing this black bodysuit, and we go into the Candyman sailor theme with little sailor hat. And then last outfit of circus is Lady Marmalade. And everyone, this is a really fun number with bright pink fans and a lot of fun choreography. And this is kind of the number where everyone gets to have the most fun with the costumes and choreography. And the dancers all carry bright pink fans, but, you know, Christina's got to hold her microphone, so we had to somehow use the pink fan on her without her having to carry it, so we decided to make a pink bustle feather skirt. And then the last is the encore, which is the more simplified, you know, Christina, the relatable Christina. She didn't want to have a lot of rhinestones, sequins. She just wanted to be her connecting with her fans and the audience. So we just chose a simple, you know, tuxedo button-down shirt. She comes out with, you know, black little bodysuit, and those are the basic 5 segments of the show.
Hey, my name is Steve Solito, and I do hair and makeup for the tour. She is gorgeous, and for a makeup artist, she has an unbelievably versatile face. First of all, she's got gorgeous, gorgeous skin. Really beautiful skin. It helps that she's 26, but she has amazing skin. Great features, really well balanced, and it's versatile. She could really morph into anything, and is constantly thinking and constantly wanting to change and not wanting to do the same old thing. And so when something comes that inspires her, she definitely comes in and says, "This is what I was thinking," and you can change things along the way a little bit and say, "Well, what about this?" And but she knows what she wants. We're so busy just getting ready, getting her out on stage, coming back and changing her and touching up in between. You couldn't change the look every single night. And this is a very specific time. It's an old Hollywood glamour, and only Hollywood glamour isn't all over the place. It has sort of a red lip standard. And the one thing we definitely morphed on stage is we've darkened her eyes, because over time a simple black line that would be a normal old Hollywood glamour look it doesn't show up enough on stage. We end a show and then we start our makeup right after that, and it takes till the next show to get it done. So it's probably a 27-hour process. Just kidding. No, I would say it's probably I would say 35 minutes for makeup and probably 50 minutes for hair, you know, and then 4 seconds in the quick change to touch up whatever we can touch up. You have no idea how quick that is and what chaotic things happen there. You know, during the show, she is running a marathon. She's running across the stage, up and down the stairs. Actually, if people knew how much she was running, they truly would be amazed at what she does, even off stage. And yeah, she definitely perspires, and you know, her makeup runs. Sometimes her eye tears, or she sweats. It happens. You just pat what you can and get her back out on stage as quickly as possible. You don't have all day to fuss and make everything look perfect each time. You just do what you can do.
Hi, I'm Ray Islas, the percussionist in the band. I've been with Christina since 2002, I think, right? 2002, 2003. It's been amazing. Amazing. It gets better and better.
My name is Brian Fraser Moore, and I've been with Christina since I think the same time, maybe What a Girl Wants tour. It's been crazy. Been through a couple of tours. It's a great show. Gotta check it out.
First tour with Christina, and it's been great. It's been a pleasure playing with her. She's a great, great artist.
I think the best part for me working with Christina is that she's a trendsetter. She's not afraid to take risks. She's not afraid to say what she hears. She's not afraid to go into different genres of music. A lot of the music that we play now is pretty much a flapper style, or requires me to use brushes, or just a whole gang of stuff that I probably wouldn't imagine I would play with the pop artist. So it's great that she's not afraid to to go there.
We play so many different kinds of music, which enables me to stretch out and try and play different other styles too. So it keeps me going. It keeps me wanting to experiment and listen to all different kinds of music too to better myself.
I never thought in my life I would be playing with an artist like such Christina Aguilera. I, studied and I expected to be in jazz clubs and stuff, and here we are traveling the world playing with one of the greatest artists that requires so much out of my own horn and out of my own study and technique and all of us in the horn section. And I never expected that to happen. And she is great. She is a great musician. First and foremost, she is a great, great musician.
The strip tour, for me, musically, I was playing more electronics, more modern sounds. And on this tour, I saw myself having to go back to playing more of the authentic, well, not authentic, but more of the old school 40s, 50s approach to my instrument.
Just from the choice of drums that I used, just from the sounds from the first tour was really pop, and the second tour she started digging into herself and evolving in her own, which she liked, and this is pretty much crazy. This is like playing with Count Basie almost. It's like it's like a evolution of music that I've had a journey with Christina from the start. I think I've pretty much touched on everything I can.
I'm breaking a sweat on this one.
Man,
I know
me
you
too.
were. Ethan with all his dance moves.
Yeah, like I never worked so hard before. Like this one, I'm playing a bunch of basses. I'm switching about 5 basses. I'm dancing, and I took dancing classes before we started this tour, and I'm really in shape. So now I'm a dancer. So not only are you going to see me playing bass, but you're going to see me dancing.
I'm Sean Favors. I'm a background vocalist.
I'm Sasha Allen, and I'm a background vocalist. I've been singing with her since 2004.
Hello, my name is Erica Jerry. I've been singing with Christina for, maybe a year now. Yeah.
I'm the newest singer. I started in September. This is my first world tour with her, so.
I find it inspiring that she's able to, no matter how she's feeling, put on the same show every day.
Oh, yeah.
She never gives less, and she never takes away depending on what her mood is. If anything, it's at a level, and then it gets better.
Yeah.
Depending on if she feels better. But if she feels worse, she never.
You would never see that.
You would never know.
And I know for me, I take like pointers from her every night, like just the way she moves on stage, just the way that her nuances, just everything about her when she's performing is just, oh my God, it's awesome.
Her stuff is very high and it's very powerful, so you have to make sure you're very healthy and make sure that you get lots of rest because it's very demanding material that she has her songs.
So I can't party a lot. We have to like stay in, and make sure we're vocally rested,
If she's diverse, we have to be diverse too because of the background vocals. We have to be able to complement her.
You have to be able to change your style of singing.
Yeah.
Because you can't sing one way on a certain song and then go to another song and sound the same because it's not going to work.
Well, I have a daughter, and actually when I was pregnant, I was on the road with another artist, so it's a trip. You go through lots of emotional changes, and also just there's something growing in your stomach and it's smushing your diaphragm, so singing becomes a whole lot harder. And when I just watch her and I see that the show has not changed at all, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Because it requires a lot of support from everybody. Just emotional support, just above anything else, because you're on a roller coaster and it's a whole nother thing that's happening on the side, but you still have to do this show, and it becomes more difficult. Especially as time goes on, because baby gets bigger and bigger.
She never stops though. She never. You can never tell that she's going through anything because every night it's just
she's on it. So
I find that sometimes when I'm really tired and I've been singing really hard and we're almost to the show but we just haven't made it yet, and then I think about all the songs that she has to sing live.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, well, let me
Yeah,
stop
we gotta
complaining
yeah.
because she's singing everything, so let me just try to make it through.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot.
It
takes a whole lot,
does.
so.
And it's an honor, definitely, to be on the same stage with such a excellent performer. Talent is just, it's amazing. So I know I'm blessed, and I'm just glad to be a part of the experience.
My name is Rob Lewis, and I'm musical director for Christina Aguilera. Musical director Ricky Minor called me to come in and audition. Then this little petite woman comes out, and she's watching the band audition. She's watching them audition, and I'm like enjoying it because I'm seeing my homies. They sound real good, so I'm like, oh man, I know him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm having a good time just at the audition. And then it was my turn to get up. I didn't know the songs, I didn't know anything, but I was so happy to just be up and playing, you know what I'm saying, because I liked her music. And then my audition was over, and she went in the room, and she brought Ricky Minor in the room. And then Ricky Minor came out, and he said, well, she definitely wants you. And that's how I met Christina Aguilera. We went into rehearsals, and Ricky was running it, and he was coming up with ideas, but there was a couple of spots where you have to have an interaction with the artist, especially while you're on the road, so that if any changes or anything that, you know, she wants to do differently or whatever, I have to be that dude that communicates with her. And so that's how our relationship started to develop. And when we were nearing the end of the European tour, she was getting ready to finish touring, but she had the Grammys, and she wanted to do the Grammys. And she wanted to put it in my hands as far as an arranger. And she asked me what did I think, and we had meetings over her house, and with Ron Fair and herself and myself, we kind of came up with this idea for the Grammys. And that's when she really stretched out and trusted me with things outside of the tour, you know. And so that's where our collaborating relationship came about, you know, switching ideas and different things like that. Later on that year, she got ready to do another tour, but this tour was going to be totally different than anything else that she has ever done. She was studying jazz, she was studying blues, and she wanted to go back to that period. And this is like summer 2004. She had invited me over to her house, and we had a meeting, and she played me 25 CDs of this influence and this influence, and some things were Millie Jackson, some things were Eartha Kitt, other things were Nat King Cole, and other things were Nina Simone. And I want to do a song like this, and I want it to flip like this, and I want you to take, maybe you could take this. And she started orchestrating her vision, her tour, you know, what she wanted it to be. And it was going to be this, you know, ode to old school, you know, the roots of jazz and blues and all of these things, you know. And so it was a hard task, and she asked me to rearrange some of her biggest hits, you know what I'm saying? But I want this one to be reggae style, and I want this one to have, you know, this Millie Jackson feel to it, and, you know, and hit me with some ideas tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the pressure was on. So that's where I really started developing as an arranger how to, you know, do it, but do it really quick. And it has to be, your arranging skill has to be at a point where the first things that you pump out are hot. So I have to make sure, like Christina makes me study, you know what I'm saying? So having to be a musical director for such an artist like Christina, I've had to study other types of music daily, like all day, because you never know when Christina's gonna call and say, I'm feeling burlesque. And it's like, okay, I've never done burlesque before. Let me study this. Okay, let me look at this and this and that. And she'll say, go to the movie Chicago and study that, or you know, Moulin Rouge, and go to that. And I want you to study, and I have to rent these movies and these soundtracks and study all this music. You know what I'm saying? Just to be able to accomplish an idea or a vision that she has musically. And I can honestly say that it's because of Christina. She's pushed me to be versatile in that sense. With that 2004 tour that we were putting together, that was incredible. That was the injection of us bringing horns into the picture. That was when she said, I want to have a 4-piece horn section, I want 6 background singers, and I want it to be all live. Christina went into the studio with Herbie Hancock and did the song, A Song for You, a Donny Hathaway remake, and she trusted me to come in and give her some ideas and, you know, pointers and like kind of produce her vocal for that song. So we were doing things like that in 2004. When we went into 2005, 2006, and when we actually went to Africa, brought the whole band, 4-piece horn section and everything, and it proved that it could be done. An hour and a half, you know what I'm saying, of just live music, great music, and a great voice. And so from there, we lead all the way up to her evolution to the Back to Basics album, and where that was going and the different things. And she would play me song after song after song after song, and I would be mesmerized because it was incredible music. It was, you know, from respected producers, from Linda Perry all the way to DJ Premier, all the way to Mark Ronson and Big Tank and all of these great producers and writers. And I was part of that process. She brought me in to be, you know, a part of her album, which was the most extreme honor that I could have ever gotten in my life. You know what I'm saying? Was to be part of her recording process. And so it was there that we really developed a studio relationship, you know what I'm saying, and a friendship at that point. And from there, I grew as a producer and as an arranger. So it was a whole other school for me in this Christina Aguilera journey. And then came time for us to put it up and mount it live. And that process was incredible because she would call out things like, for the MTV Movie Awards, I want to do this 1.5-minute jazz big band interlude. I want it to sound like this and this and this and this and this. Make it happen. Have an idea for me. I don't want to do Come On Over the same way. I want to do it, you know, I don't want it to be so major and pretty. I want it to have soul. I want to, instead of, hey boy, don't you know I got something going on. I don't want it to sound candy. I want to go, hey boy, don't you know I got something going on. Like, hey boy, like soul. I want soul, Rob. I want you to, you know, maybe Ray Charles and maybe some Marvin Gaye and you know what I'm saying, this and that. And with those instructions, I have to take all of that and then go home, and while I'm driving home, I'm trying to think of ideas, and when I get home, I'm thinking of ideas and driving to rehearsal, and then finally get in front of the band and say, this is what Christina told me she wants. And we would go and craft it. I have some of the best musicians in the world around me at all times or whatever, so you know, we were able to make the vision happen. But it all starts with a very talented artist, woman, businesswoman, individual who just will stand for her vision and what it is that she sees and what it is she wants to do. And it helps me evolve. It helps me evolve.
We met about, I think, I don't remember the exact, maybe 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. At first it was really just a work relationship, and we became good friends, and then I moved out here, and we really were kind of best friends first. I think, you know, of course I had feelings for her from the beginning, but it didn't really start maybe about a year until our friendship that we took it to that kind of that next level. Christina's my wife, and I love her. To me, she's just Christina, and she's not this, you know, big global superstar. When I see her, you know, when she's on the stage, I also see her when her makeup's off and she's laying in her pajamas, you know. And that's really the woman that I've fallen in love with. We're trying to build a family together and live our lives together, and that's really what my focus is on. Really, what really helps it is really how grounded Christina is. She's really just about her work, about her music, and about her family. And that's, you know, that's what I love most about her. We try to always make sure we don't, or we're not apart for more than like 2 weeks at a time. So if she's on tour, then I'll get on a plane and I'll go see her. And then, you know, there's times when she's not on tour and I got to see everything she does from start to finish, and really get to be in her work environment and see how she does what she does. It was pretty overwhelming to see the woman that I love up there doing what she loves to do, and taking control of the stage, and having my child up there with her, and it was those were moments that were really just incredible to me to feel that. I was actually in New York on a business trip, and I was there for one day. I had left, I think she told me on a Friday, I had left Thursday night on the red eye to go to New York, and I had some meetings, and I was going to turn around and come right back to LA. And my father actually picked me up for my last meeting to drive me to the airport, and she called me while I was in the car. And of course I was so excited, but the thing is I didn't want to say anything to my father yet, so I had to kind of control my excitement for a minute. And then I remember I got out of the car and I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. I called her right back, and I think I just screamed in the middle of the airport. People probably thought I was insane. On Back to Basics, I really got to see her conceptualize everything, talk to me about what certain things in her life, what she wanted to write about. So to really see it from the beginning, from like the first spark in her head, I got to see it when she was writing in her diary about certain things. And then, she records the record, and that all comes to life. And then you actually see her show come to life, and what her vision is for the songs. It's pretty amazing to watch the evolution of everything. But a lot of those songs really kind of speak to her experience as a daughter and what she had gone through and how she wants to change that for her family. So it almost kind of, ending it with her pregnancy almost kind of brought it full circle in a sense. I've actually really never in my life met anybody that works as hard as she does. And it's really actually inspiring just to, in my own life and my own business, to be around someone that's that detail-oriented. The most amazing thing about her really is that her voice is obviously, undeniably incredible. But her voice is really, 10% of her talents. She's a visual artist. She's a performance artist. She works really hard to make sure that she's the best at what she does. Every detail, from her hair to her clothing to where the lights are set up to the band it's all her. She never gives up, and it doesn't matter. She could be sick, she can be pregnant, she can be, it doesn't matter. When she comes home and she's not working, she's very good at turning it off and leaving it all there, and we get to really spend our time together. And we make effort to make sure we have our little date nights, and or like Sunday is our day to do absolutely nothing, and we don't take any calls, we don't take any meetings, and it's just our day to relax together. So we definitely make our time to shut it off, but when it's on, it's with her. It's definitely on. We met about, I don't remember the exact, maybe 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. At first it was really just a work relationship, and we became good friends, and then I moved out here, and we really were kind of best friends first. I think, of course I had feelings for her from the beginning, but it didn't really start maybe about a year until our friendship that we took it to that kind of that next level. Christina's my wife, and I love her. To me, she's just Christina. And she's not this, big global superstar. When I see her, when she's on the stage, I also see her when her makeup's off and she's laying in her pajamas, And that's really the woman that I've fallen in love with. We're trying to build a family together and live our lives together, and that's really what my focus is on. Really, what really helps it is really how grounded Christina is. She's really just about her work, about her music, and about her family. And that's, that's what I love most about her. We try to always make sure we don't, or we're not apart for more than like 2 weeks at a time. So if she's on tour, then I'll get on a plane and I'll go see her. And then, there's times when she's not on tour and she has some off time and I'm working, and she'll join me. I mean, you just have to really make the effort to make it work. We never let ourselves go more than 2 weeks, mostly because we can't. I mean, it's one of those things you miss each other too much. Right before we left for this last leg of the tour, we found out that she was pregnant. So, a little worried about what might happen with such a, that kind of grueling work that she does. And she was in Southeast Asia and Australia, which is, so much farther away and so much harder to get to. So coming back and forth wasn't really much of an option. So I actually made the decision to just go on the whole last leg of the tour, which is great. What she loves to do, and taking control of the stage and having my child up there with her, and it was those were moments that were really just incredible to me to feel that. I was actually in New York on a business trip, and I was there for one day. I had left, I think she told me on a Friday, I had left Thursday night on the red eye to go to New York, and I had some meetings, and I was going to turn around and come right back to LA. And my father actually picked me up from my last meeting to drive me to the airport, and she called me while I was in the car. And of course, I was so excited, but the thing is, I didn't want to say anything to my father yet, so I had to kind of control my excitement for a minute. And then I remember I got out of the car and I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. I called her right back, and I think I just screamed in the middle of the airport. People probably thought I was insane. On Back to Basics, I really got to see her conceptualize everything, talk to me about what certain things in her life, what she wanted to write about. So to really see it from the beginning, from like the first spark in her head, I got to see it when she was writing in her diary about certain things. And then, she records the record, and that all comes to life. And then you actually see her show come to life, and what her vision is for the songs. It's pretty amazing to watch the evolution of everything. But a lot of those songs really kind of speak to her experience as a daughter and what she had gone through and how she wants to change that for her family. So it almost kind of, ending it with her pregnancy almost kind of brought it full circle in a sense. I've actually really never in my life met anybody that works as hard as she does. And it's really actually inspiring just to, in my own life and my own business, to be around someone that's that detail-oriented. The most amazing thing about her really is that her voice is obviously, undeniably incredible. But her voice is really, 10% of her talents. She's a visual artist. She's a performance artist. She works really hard to make sure that she's the best at what she does. Every detail, from her hair to her clothing to where the lights are set up to the band it's all her. She never gives up, and it doesn't matter. She could be sick, she can be pregnant, she can be, it doesn't matter. When she comes home and she's not working, she's very good at turning it off and leaving it all there, and we get to really spend our time together. And we make effort to make sure, we have our little date nights, and, or like Sunday is our day to do absolutely nothing. And, we don't take any calls, we don't take any meetings, and it's just our day to relax together. So we definitely make our time to shut it off, but when it's on, it's with her, it's definitely on.
To go in and plan every detail of this tour, it kind of starts almost a year in advance for me, basically, just because I'm such a visual, artist. I love experimenting and coming up with new looks and ideas for everything that I do. So while I'm in the studio recording the music, I really think about the theatrical aspects that I love to have involved in my show, to the props, to the costumes for everyone, everything I am thinking about while I'm actually recording a song. So considering, that along with coming up with the concept, going back to old of vintage, Hollywood glamour, going to the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the great singers of those time periods, to the great beauty icons of those time periods, it was really important for me to really get into that whole world and headspace and bring it to life. My whole purpose for that is to really put on a super entertaining show that's going to let people be able to escape, and that's what I think entertainment should be about. That's why I like to bring so many visuals to the table. I want to take everybody on a journey. I want them to use their imaginations. I want them to escape whatever's been going on in their day, their week, whatever's troubling them. I want this to be their form of escape, at least for the next 2 hours. Whenever I go in with a clean slate to start fresh for every album, I really kind of go into my creative cave. That's why I sort of I do take time in between records, a few years time, hoping not that long for the next one, because I kind of have a great idea for where I'm going in the next direction. But every time I go to start a record, you know, I definitely take everything that I've kind of learned. I kind of like to take that time for myself just to kind of learn who I've grown into, the person that I've become since the last time I put out a record. It's really important for me because I like to, that are around me and have come to know me over the years, and we get to work. I want to have listening parties. I want to set everybody down in a room so everybody's on the same page. We have meetings. It's really nice to have that team of people around me that can bring that vision to life. It's fun for me to interact with my dancers on stage. We have our own little secret language. You know, if something were to fall, or, you know, if my mic pack was coming down, I know that they have my back. You know, Paul's come through for me so many times for this perfectly. They'll do a little flip or a back turn and come right around and just like pop my mic wire back in my pack for me and make it look like it was just part of the choreography itself. So they're really talented, and I just had to take a minute and talk about them because it really helps to have people that enjoy the stage as much as you do. I love the moment where I see Tiana in the beginning of Makes Me Want to Pray. Her hair is flying everywhere. She has a moment after Marcel does his turn where, I mean, I just can't help but smile every time I would catch her from below the stage because I would have to rise up for my entrance for this song. But just watching her get into this song was always just a thrill for me because you can tell she's in it. She really is feeling what she's doing. Lady Marmalade, again, from where I have to enter for this particular song is from underneath the stage. So I would always look up, and I got an amazing view of Marcel as he would come up the back stairs as I would watch him from the lift where I would be revealed. And I would get a great view of his whole, like, he did a little stomp, 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 kick thing, and did a little snap, I think, and he just did an amazing, amazing job of pulling what I was going for, exactly what I wanted. As a performer, there's nothing better for me to be on that stage and sharing it with people who truly love to be on that stage and know that this is their moment to just express the one thing that they love to do more than anything else in this world, and that's to perform and to get lost in this music, and for the 90 minutes that you have on this stage to make the most of them and let the audience really feel you and feel where you're coming from. For me personally, you know, people ask me sometimes, you know, what, out of all your changes that you've been through, what is the one that's most you? And I honestly can never pick just one state of my life or one episode or one album that I've picked out as being purely me, because I'm the kind of person, and I take this to my artistry too, where I really put whatever's in my heart or whatever I'm going through there out on my sleeve, out in my lyrics. You know, it just comes out of me as creativity. I am always looking for change. I think that's the point of life, you know, is to constantly evolve and change as a human being, to grow, learn from your mistakes, learn from your past, learn from everything around you and be inspired by it and grow from it and try to become better human beings, better artists throughout it all. So for me, you know, it's just a part of who I am. Everything on the tour really took on a special meaning once I found out the news that I was pregnant. Just knowing that I was up there, kind of not alone. Well, really not alone. You know, I was there. I felt almost like I had a little teammate inside of me. You know, on my worst days when I was too tired, I felt like I had to do it for little one in there, and little one was egging me on. So I felt like we were in it together every step of the way. So it always kind of put a smile on my face. And if I didn't do it for me, I was going to do it for this one. This is a new chapter in my life, having just bought the new house. It's a family house. It's exciting. It's really exciting. And then, you know, he'll be my little roadie on the next tour. He'll be right there with mommy, and, you know, I definitely want to take him on the road with me because there's no stopping me.
Come here, baby. From a whisper start. I think when I heard John Hyatt have a little faith in me, I was a little terrified to do a rendition of the song because his vocal performance is so distinctive and so unique. Hi! I just want to give you a quick tour of my home. Actually, probably 6 or 7 of the songs on the record. This was my vocal booth. That was my home, my little baby. And this glass door here is so not soundproofed. So I recorded the whole record with John Fields, the producer, and John, my manager. So the two of them were always out there whenever I did a good take, or whenever they didn't like something, or they had some sort of idea for something they wanted to tell me about afterwards. I could hear everything. I could hear all of their conversations through this. So I would have to stop a take and go, guys, you just ruined the take. Completely ruined it. But yeah, the cool thing is we would take the laptop right here, and I had the lyrics kind of committed to memory for every song, but just to make sure and just to kind of have backup if for some reason, you know, closing my eyes to sing and the lyrics escaped my mind for a second, we always pulled up the lyrics. I'm lazy, so when I have time off, I like to stay at home. I'm addicted to TiVo, actually. I love being a couch potato when I have the opportunity. I love collecting vintage t-shirts. That's my new hobby of sorts, vintage t-shirts, and anywhere from thrift stores to vintage t-shirt shops, like specialty shops. I've recently gotten into training. And running and lifting weights and doing all of that stuff that everyone hates to do, unless you're not normal. I actually have fun with it. I have a trainer and she's become one of my best friends and we have a lot of fun together, so it's not all work. It's a little bit of fun too. I think I feel like I can rip it up. Date some mirth, that's what I feel like doing.
Step it up.
I kind of like that. All over, all over, all over, all over. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to tremble whenever you're around. I Feel the Earth Move was a song that I'd heard growing up, but didn't know who Carole King was, didn't know that Carole King sang it, didn't know anything about Tapestry. It's so groovy, and it was one of those songs that, all the songs are perfect in the form that they're in originally, but it was one of those songs that I just wanted to make a bit more contemporary, a bit more now.
Dude, there's some soul in this song.
For sure. 1, 2, 3. I usually came to the studio dressed casually like this, but there was the occasional day I came in, you know, like pajama bottoms and Ugg boots and a tank top, and I was ready to go in. You don't really care. Leave all your inhibitions at the door. Just come in and be creative and have fun and don't put pressure on yourself. I always show up to the studio with my own Gatorade and a bag of Lay's potato chips because I liked the Gatorade when I was in the studio. I always had water as well, but Gatorade, for some reason, I felt better. It hydrated me a little bit more, and it made me feel good after I'd been singing for a couple of hours. And the chips, the salt and the grease in the chips kind of helped coat my throat and coat my vocal cords too while I was in the studio, and my voice was starting to get a little bit raw. It was a temporary remedy, a temporary fix, so this is it. It just has such a great, warm, homey vibe, and you know, we keep the doors open most days when we're recording unless traffic got a little too loud. This is where all the creativity and inspiration was flowing for 2 months, and knew each song inside and out, that I was just ready to go. I kind of like came in firing or trying the best that I could and putting my best foot forward, and I hope that it's apparent. I hope that it came across. I think there's something about these musicians, about these singer-songwriters on the record, that it was, at the end of the day, most importantly, about the music.
And that's all that mattered. It wasn't about photo shoots. It wasn't about album packaging. It wasn't about the politics of the music industry. It wasn't about video shoots. It was just about the music and the songs and letting them speak for themselves. So I think that's what was cool also about doing a record like this. Such a throwback. I'm a huge Joan Armatrading fan, and Drop the Pilot was just the #1 idea. It was the first song we recorded, but it was my first idea. Like, even if I didn't kind of continue with the trend and finish making this record as it stands today, it probably would have ended up on some record, just because I'm so in love with the song. I heard Drop the Pilot for the first time probably 4 years ago, and it's been stuck in my mind ever since, of something that I wanted to be a part of and eventually record one day. Where all the magic happened, but it was just so intimate, and being in a studio like this really took the pressure off. It wasn't some really fancy schmancy studio. All the technology that you need is right here. I mean, artists and musicians are recording records in their bedrooms now. So I wanted to have a bit of the homegrown vibe on the album as well. I am a big family girl. I love being around my family. I have a great relationship with my parents and with my brothers, and since the age of 14 and I started off in this industry, both my parents, or one of them at a time, have always been traveling with me, and probably will continue to do so, just because I've found I have such a great rapport with them, and I have such a great relationship at an age where I guess it's stereotypical to be rebelling from them in a sense, and being off at college and finding your independence and your freedom. I couldn't be happier than when I'm spending time with them. It's nice. It's just us and the dogs living all together, trying to find happiness. I have 3 cats, Milo, Chloe, and Zoe, in Orlando. And then I have 3 dogs who travel with me just about everywhere I can take them. 2 are little Yorkies, and their names are Oliver and Winston. Affectionately, Winnie and Sausage, those are their nicknames. And then there's Dexter, who's a pug, a miniature pug. And little Dexy, he is just a character. I love my dogs. The purpose in getting smaller dogs was obviously with the intent of being able to take them wherever I wanted to go. Wherever my travels may take me, on a movie set, on the road somewhere in some foreign country, if I can get them there without quarantine. Oliver, actually, I got for my 17th birthday. He was a surprise to me when I was filming A Walk to Remember. I'd wanted a Yorkie, a little tiny teacup Yorkie, actually, since I met Eve, because she has a little Yorkie and she inspired me to get one. So Oliver was first, and then Winston was 4 or 5 months after that, and then Dexter I got just at the end of last year. And they're a little family. And at first my parents were actually really upset about me getting the dogs, besides Oliver, because they got him for me.
Hey Mandy, will you sign my bass?
Sure. I have a signature on the guitar here for John Fields. Everyone he's ever worked with has kind of signed this guitar in different places.
She hasn't played bass in a while, though.
Well, it's not just bass players. It's guitar players, drummers, people.
Well, Mandy is definitely going to need a prime space on this guitar.
I wrote Rock On, Thanks, Love, Mandy on here for John Fields. Everyone he's ever worked with has kind of signed this guitar in different places, so it was an honor to have my signature on the guitar. So yeah, this was it. Anticipation was the second song that we recorded for the album. When trying to get together repertoire to end up recording for the album, this was something that was automatic, just came to mind right off the bat. It was one of those songs that I grew up listening to and just really didn't know it was Carly Simon singing it at the end of the day. But I love it. I love what it's talking about. I think it's a really personal song for me. It hit home. I think for people, Anticipation is just so instant. It's an automatic melody. Melodically and lyrically, it's so beautiful that you can't help but be singing along like the second time the chorus comes along. I feel like there is a different air to being, like a different vibe to being a musician, to being a recording artist in this era, in the 70s and in the 80s. Like, there was something a little bit more magical than maybe what exists today. Not to kind of write off today, but there's just, there is. It's this unspeakable kind of difference. And I feel like songs today are so cut and dry. You can say I love you, or you can say I'm independent, or you can say I'm breaking up with you, and that's it. And you kind of take it for what it is. Whereas songs that I've been lucky enough to cover on the record, and of that era and of that genre and that generation, go about it in a different language, in a different way, and it makes it almost more appealing. It makes it just magical. Like, what would it have been like to hear that song on the radio? Being a teenager, being my age, you know, in that time, and hearing that song, how would it have affected me? How would I have felt? Like, how would it have changed my life? That's kind of what I think about when I listen to some of these songs.
I'm a musical theater geek. I started off at age 9 auditioning for like local theater and community theater around Orlando where I grew up, and probably didn't listen to a lot of pop music until I was 12 or 13. I was just Sound of Music, Guys and Dolls, Bye Bye Birdie, West Side Story, everything, all kind of lumped together. I was a big fan, and that ambition still stands today. I have such a desire and need almost to be on Broadway, to feel truly fulfilled in my life. I think just the rush of adrenaline and the opportunity of performing night after night after night with this different situation, with a different audience, and not being yourself, not being on stage performing your own music, kind of stepping back and doing something a little less personal and embodying this character, I think would be amazing. I love doing film. I feel very privileged to be able to do a little bit of both music and film. I think it's a completely different process creatively. Going into the studio and being a recording artist and maintaining that type of schedule is a really different thing, and it takes a lot more out of you, I think, than being an actress and being allowed, you know, the time of spending 3 months on set and being surrounded by people that eventually feel like family to you at the end of the day. I love being able to take time off and take the time out of the schedule a little bit and try something different that challenges me in a different way that music doesn't.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I was here on and off for 2 months. The record was actually a pretty easy process, and it was fairly quick. I'd never actually done a record in one space with one producer before, so it was a bit of an exciting experience because you really get this rapport going with the people that you're working with, and it's not so halted like stop-start when you're working with different people on, you know, different songs on each record. So it was amazing to kind of come in day after day and see how, you know, my friendship with John kind of grew and how comfortable I became with him each and every day. And it was nice to be a part of the creative process too, to say, you know what, I think the drums need a little bit more kick, or I think the acoustic guitar needs to be up in the song. I think the song just needs to be quicker. We would basically get the idea for each song, and Fields would go away either to Minneapolis or here in LA with all of his musician friends, and he would get the track together kind of rough, and I would come back in the next day and I'd sing like a demo vocal, or I'd just, you know, sing something rough, and then the band would go back in and finish the song and kind of around my vocal, and if we needed to redo anything vocally, I would come back in once the song was kind of completed production-wise. But it was a cool process to like start and like kind of get a little bit of flavor going on the song, and then hearing like the song, like the culmination, like the end result and what the production and how all the instruments and what the song basically was going to sound like, and then I could kind of go back and elaborate a little bit more on the vocals that I had put on before.
Senses working overtime.
Senses Working Overtime was one of the last songs we recorded for the record. I love it. It's really an incredible experience to actually play it live. It was one of those songs that I heard for the first time and felt like, wow, there's such a pop smash of a song underneath this really kind of eclectic, eccentric rendition of the song. I wanted to be a part of it, and I was kind of amazed that no one had gone as far as to cover it as of yet.
Church bells softly chime.
I think the life of a recording artist is so hectic. Plans can change at the drop of a hat. In 5 minutes, you could be scheduled for another interview. You could be on a plane going to Hong Kong. I mean, it's insane. And that fast-paced lifestyle, it becomes like this acquired thing in your life, and you learn to thrive off of it in a sense. But you want to just halt things and slow things down for a little bit, and I'm very lucky that I've had the opportunity to kind of make films and live on a set in one constant and consistent place for 3 months and make some new friends and get outside of myself in such a selfish frame of mind, I guess, in a sense, of always talking about yourself or presenting your music to people. It's so personal, it's so taxing in a sense. Making a film, you're forgetting who you are and completely embodying a different person that you get to learn about and ultimately create. So it's an amazing and completely backwards process to being a recording artist, I think. Prepping for a movie, absolutely. You work with a coach, you work inside your own head a lot. I love working with someone who helps you pull stuff out of your own mind. And ultimately, when you're creating a character, it's coming from you. And it's kind of fun, because you get to think of their astrological sign, and you get to think of their favorite color, and what music they listen to, and what they wear, and what posters are on their bedroom wall. And it's all coming from you. So it's coming from an honest and genuine place when you're on screen. And I love getting into character. Prepping for A Walk to Remember, my character, Jamie, wears an old sweater throughout most of the film and doesn't wear a lot of makeup and doesn't pride herself on her outward appearance. And so a couple of days before I left to go shoot the film in North Carolina, I bought like a thrift store sweater, and I kind of ran around and did my errands and did what I had to do throughout the day as Jamie, and as Jamie would. And you start to embody this character, and you start acting differently and treating people differently. And it's not this intense method acting of completely going there, but it does help you at the end of the day ultimately get into character a little bit more, and I like that. Hole of the Moon is my favorite song on the record. It is what I like to call purple. That's how I describe Hole of the Moon. It's like a big can of purple paint, just really thick. I love the song so instantaneously, like there was just some attraction automatically, and it was like checking off, like, okay, that's another song for me. As weird as it might sound, I think one of the films that really kind of inspired me or motivated me to eventually work in this industry was Beaches. I'm a huge Bette Midler fan, and I always loved Beaches for kind of the premise of Bette Midler's character, how she started off as a younger child and this entertainer in Atlantic City, and she ended up being this huge Broadway star and recording artist. And being such a big fan of Bette Midler, I felt like it was very true to who she was as well. So that kind of inspired me I was just in awe.
Don't you feel like trying something new?
Joe Jackson is something else. His music is something that I'm still investigating. I'm fascinated by him and how he's kind of involved in this post-punk movement, but classically trained and has such a wonderful voice. And I loved Breaking Us in Two. Again, one of those songs that is universal and speaking about things that contemporary songs are speaking about today, but in a wittier way.
There's always something breaking us in
I don't know if I have a favorite movie ever. I like to laugh. I'm a big fan of comedies, so anything from Christopher Guest films like Best in Show or Waiting for Guffman to Election to Groundhog Day to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Those are probably a collection of my favorites. Like those 5 or 6 DVDs are constantly in rotation on my DVD player. I think each film is a different experience. I feel like starting off in The Princess Diaries and then A Walk to Remember, my appreciation for the craft and my love of the teamwork and how everybody kind of comes together to assemble a film and to kind of, it's not just about you. It's a creative process that involves so many people kind of coming together to make this final product that I'm still learning, and I still have so much to learn about the film. Pretty hectic. I have this album coming out. I'm shooting a film throughout the summer. There's possibly other film opportunities presented this fall at some point. Beyond that, I don't really know. I kind of love living the lifestyle where things come to me on the fly, like things just end up coming to fruition. I heard about Saved, and 2 weeks later I was on set for the movie. So things just end up panning out and working out. Other opportunities, I get bummed out because they don't end up coming to fruition, but somehow things always have a way of panning out and working out for the best. Good stuff. I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time. So my advice to people, just from my own personal experience, would be to not pass up on any good opportunity, whether it's singing in your school choir, singing the national anthem at a high school football game, being in a local play. Just go out there and do what you do and be proud of it and have fun. Don't take yourself too seriously, and don't take what you do or what you want to do too seriously, because life is too short.